all these Facebook ads are ready to go. It's like Friday, 5, 6 o'clock. We all get a notification on our phone that an ad has been declined. And another one. We jump in and look at it. And our Facebook ad account has been canceled, done, dead. You are booted. You are not allowed to advertise ever again. You're gone. At the time, we have BattlBox Forum, which was a Reddit-style bulletin board. So we post in there, hey, anybody have any ideas? The craziest thing, one of our customers works a couple cube rows over from the manual team that did it. He's like, yeah, I'll just go over there and ask him. We're like, okay. And like within a couple hours, we were back up and running.
Hello and welcome to DSC Podcast. I'm Dyck. Today we're running into the wild with BattlBox's John Roman. John joined BattlBox a monthly subscription for hand-picked outdoor gear shortly after they'd struck product market fit gold and has helped propel them to high 8-figure revenues with an absolutely scorching subscription LTV that approaches $1,000 per customer. You'll hear all about BattlBox's Golden Goose content strategy and how a single YouTube creator who started as a superfan has gone on to become one of the most important BattlBoxers on the team, generating 500,000 YouTube subscribers and almost 200 million video views to date. And also ultimately led to a lucrative Netflix production that reads basically like a BattlBox commercial. You'll learn what it's like to hitch a ride on the Netflix rocket and what their most important metric is, completion rate, and how it will determine your Netflix fate. I hope you enjoy it. On with the show. Do you ever listen to the D2C podcast and think, oh man, I wish I could just hang out with these people in Las Vegas for 2 days? Well, good news, D2C listeners, because you can. C-Suite Las Vegas Mastermind is happening March 23rd, 24th in Las Vegas. We're about halfway sold out at the time of this recording with some of just the most interesting brands. We're going to put about 100 brands in a room. We're going to be programming some amazing content with some amazing speakers. We've got all these different interactive networking and relationship building type events. We're even booking a hot LA comedian to come in and do an hour, and they'll probably roast me. You don't want to miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hang out with the D2C crew, the Pilot House crew, a bunch of our favorite speakers, and all the mentors that we've programmed for you. You don't want to miss it. Go to directtoconsumer.co/events and lock in your ticket while they're still available. John, welcome to the D2C podcast. Start by telling me the story of BattlBox and how you came to be involved with it.
Sure, Eric, super excited to be here. Wow, so the BattlBox Story. So it starts in December 2014. So I have a Christmas party every year. As you get older, you have all these different circle of friends that you've accumulated through the years. And the purpose of the Christmas party is all of these friends through the years, everybody's invited, and it's a great time. From the friend circle of when I was in college, a lot of that group came. One of the guys came, his name was Daniel, my previous business partner, and just chatting with him on the back porch. Him and another gentleman they were entrepreneurs. They had a design screen print business so they had 2 locations, both outside universities. So the school, fraternities, sororities, social groups, intramural sports teams would go to them for shirts, logos, caps, hoodies, etc. December is like historically dead during that time, right? Everybody's left school. So we were just chatting, and he's an idea guy, chatting through some ideas, things he wanted to do. He didn't want to do what he was currently doing forever. And it was a good conversation. Ended it, and I was doing this a lot of the time. I still do this, is when I have a conversation like that, I typically give a couple of pieces of homework. I don't call it homework. It doesn't feel like it's homework, but I'm really putting the ball in someone else's court to see how they react and how they behave. And it's almost like a first date, right? You want to really fill that person out. Gave him some homework. Didn't ever hear back from him on that. maybe that was a sign of later times. But moving forward, we had that conversation. It was a great conversation. 2 months later, I'm talking to another individual, his business partner in the current business, and catching up with him. And hey, what's going on? What's new? And he's like, Daniel came up with this idea called BattlBox. It's going to be a monthly subscription of outdoor gear. Camping, survivalists, outdoorsmen, adventure, etc. And I said, wow, that sounds really cool, for a multitude of reasons. So my background and job at the time is building B2B sales teams. So I know subscription very well, and I know how great it is for forecasting and valuations, and it checks so many boxes. So I'm instantly intrigued. And I had that conversation with Daniel 2 months prior, and him saying, hey, I would like to do something with you. So as soon as I get done with that conversation, I picked up the phone, called Daniel, said, hey, I want to be a part of this. We, in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, came to an agreement where I was buying some equity, a piece of the company, and in turn offering some, limited advisement role, maybe 5 hours a month, nothing of large scale. And I was completely, and it was in this one pager that we signed when the deal was done, where I was very transparent that I wanted to kind of roadmap what this was and what our go-to market strategy was going to be, so that we could try to replicate it and stamp it out with other brands. And in turn, he would be receiving equity in those. The same equity that he was selling me in BattlBox, and that's how we agreed to a lower valuation.
Was it pre-sales at that point, or had there been some sales?
There had been some sales. It was when the ink dried from that, it was maybe 2.5 weeks past launch, and there was already a considerable amount of sales. There was already, I think, $40-something thousand in sales, which is for a startup that isn't funded, that's just making some Facebook ads, that's actually pretty good. So we were off to the races, and we saw some instant success. That first month we had about 200 subscribers, and which is a great start. But month 2, that March, we had 1,000 new, and then that April we had 1,200 new. And it just kept going. So my 5 hours of some time a month quickly turned into 10, and then 15, then 20, then it was 10 a week, and it just kept building, and we continued to see growth. So Daniel and Patrick, who were 2 of the 4 of us, they had, from the jump, they were basically in it full time. They instantly identified, hey, this in a month is already potentially producing more than we can make in the other business. So they still had that business for a moment, but the focus was on BattlBox. We had another partner who was involved as well, and so we kept going. In 2016, early 2016 April, in January, I had made a switch to a startup company. I had left a larger company for this startup, and it wasn't going as planned. And it was a few months in, and I was looking at what our projected run rate was going to be for BattlBox, and it was going to be 8 figures. And if we kept the course and the growth that we were seeing, and no reason to believe we wouldn't. And then I was looking at the size of the company I had just joined, and it was going to be about the same size by the end of the year. And I have some major equity in one, and I have promise of equity if there's an exit in the other. But if I left, it's 0. So I said, okay, let's do this. So spoke to them and spoke to the wife, and in April 2016, so 14 months after launch, I jumped in full time.
And the growth that you were seeing then, that was back in the heyday of Meta ads. Was this mostly driven through Facebook ads?
Yeah, naivety to we none of us had played in this world prior. We all had some experience that played to the success, but none of us had direct experience in this. And yeah, we didn't know any better. We were 99% of our traffic was Facebook ads, and we were Eric, we were acquiring customers for less than $5 each. And these are customers with an average order value over 100.
And an LTV what's your the retention period is of months?
Yeah, typically around 7 months. So we didn't know that then, but we still knew. I mean, $5 is good, but if I knew what I knew now, I would have maxed out every credit card. I would have borrowed from anybody that would give me $1 and put it all in acquiring customers back then. We didn't know how good we had it.
What were you seeing? So one of the things I love about BattlBox versus any other subscription program I've seen is it's like you canceling your subscription could be a matter of survival. Because it's not just like you're not getting just more smoothies or more of one thing. You're literally getting these essential pieces that you need in your kit if you're going to be an outdoors person.
Right.
And so it's probably a real completionist aspect to people who subscribe to this versus maybe other sponsorships or subscriptions.
But so that's very true. But at the same time, you look at that need-want scale, and unfortunately, we're not as over on the need side is, like some kind of food or replenishable.
Yeah. Men can convince themselves of a lot of things in the outdoors world are necessary though.
And it boils down to the number one reason of cancels is, I'm having space issues. I have enough gear, and we've also done some testing, and that also is what's checked when a significant other says enough's enough.
This is why you need a battle box. I was saying in the pre-interview, you got to get the box that people can put all their stuff in, and then the wives will complain less. It's win-win.
So we should, after this, we need to talk about that. So I sent it to the team, and we've had some conversations with them. So it's interesting. We did a giveaway for them a few months back.
Oh, with Rux?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
So I've had the emails forwarded to me to try to figure out where it was left off. Might pick your brain a little bit on it.
Fantastic. Nice.
So... yeah, so we continued to go, all Facebook, and the only thing we were doing besides Facebook, part of our go-to market strategy, we were sending these boxes out to YouTubers for reviews, for content, and keep going. Everything's great, loving it, and we're going in a Labor Day weekend. We have the most aggressive sale we've ever had. We're going to do 20% off your first box. I love that that's aggressive. But at the time that was, we still to this day, we don't like to discount. We feel we don't need to because of the quality products, but all these Facebook ads are ready to go. It's like Friday, 5-6 o'clock, and we all get a notification on our phone that an ad has been declined or not approved. But all of our ads were already running, and another one, and we jump in and look at it, and our Facebook ad account has been canceled, done, dead. You are booted. You are not allowed to advertise ever again. You're gone. Even back, more so now, but even back then, getting someone on the phone at Facebook, it's a little bit of a challenge, to say the least.
Yeah, live chat. I've always had success getting someone on live chat, but it doesn't often get anywhere.
Right. So it's such a challenge. We can't get anybody. We're calling everybody we know, emailing everybody we know, trying to find some kind of in. At the time, we have BattlBoxForum.com, which was a Reddit-style bulletin board for our customer base. It's been since we migrated over, and it's a Facebook group now. But at the time, so we post in there, hey, anybody have any ideas? And the craziest thing, one of our customers is a Facebook employee and works a couple rooms or cube rows over from the manual team that did it. and we don't have this conversation, find this out until like I think Monday or Tuesday. So we've already lost out on this big sale we were gonna have. But he's like, yeah, I'll just go over there and ask him. We're like, oh, okay, and like within a couple hours, we were back up and running.
You never hear stories like that. You
No.
never hear stories. First of all, I've never heard of someone's customer base being on the Facebook side of things, but them actually having that ability to go literally through the wall or whatever of that appeal
Yeah,
process.
just walked
That's
over
awesome.
to a fellow coworker and said, hey, this brand you called BattlBox, it says that you killed them. Like, they're not doing anything. They're following guidelines.
What was the reason? What did they think was wrong?
So not in advertisements, not in the ads, on the landing pages, but the top tier, Pro Plus includes a knife. Knives are weapons. Facebook is an interesting thing because we weren't selling that. We were selling the non-knife products. But Facebook's an interesting world, right? Walmart and some huge brands sell guns, but they're not selling them in the ads. It's in their catalog, but that's not what they're selling. So it's allowed, but it's allowed because they're also spending, probably 7 figures a month. So it's a weird,
where you're not promoting the knife, but it is in your catalog.
right? So it's the same
situation.
thing, but we're also not spending $1 million a month. And all of a sudden, certain restrictions and doors and problems, I'm sure, are alleviated when you're giving them that much money.
I want to get into Facebook now versus then, but I'm just also curious, just from someone who had a subscription program kind of work right out of the gate, what do you attribute that to mainly? What factors to having it work right out of the gate do you think you guys nailed?
Sure. So with certainty, it was a product market fit. So when Daniel came up with the idea, it was because he saw his at the time girlfriend opening up a Birchbox, and like he saw this excitement and experience she was going through, and he went online to find one because he wanted that experience and didn't see one, and then saw the opportunity. So with certainty, product market fit. The other piece is content and community. We hadn't fully figured out the content piece at the initial launch, but we had figured out content indirectly via YouTube and random people talking about it. And it wasn't our content, but it was still a lot of content. We were sending from month 1 30 boxes out at least to YouTubers that would do reviews. The community piece we had from the jump. So we launched with this BattlBox Forum where we were jumping in every day. We were having conversations with our customers. We were truly building this community of like-minded people that enjoy the great outdoors. And that is single-handedly, it's the content and the community. We got better with both, but we had the community very similar to what it is now off the jump.
How did your community change from into Facebook go? Because I've heard people go different ways from a private forum into Facebook and vice versa. Did you maintain the quality of the conversation moving to Facebook from your private forum?
Yeah, so you're right. You hear it on both sides. I spoke to a buddy literally last week that had just moved off from Facebook to another platform that's more like what we just described. I enjoy it. I like it. It's easier to moderate. It's easier to make sure you're not missing things, notifications. There was an app that was like a third party app that we could use for a bulletin board called, I think, Tap something. It just wasn't the same. The features of Facebook are good. Since we have such a focus on video content now and going live, Facebook offers that. I like it. It's the process of, because you can only be in the group if you're an active subscriber. So the rules in place and the way we're managing it now is a lot easier to implement and execute with Facebook.
Makes sense.
So I'm a fan.
Nice. I'm curious too, just on the success of the subscription program, how much has gone into fine tuning the order of the products and the products that people get? Because I imagine you'll have a really another reason for people bailing from the subscription program would be like, oh, I already have the one that I'd get this month, or I'm not interested in that one as much. Do you do a lot of testing with the actual products you're offering?
Yeah, so we do from what we did in that initial month or two to now. We built such a process. So like currently what the process is so we have several funnels of potential product ideas. One funnel is our website. We have on our website, you want to be in BattlBox, and it's a vendor submission form. It kicks them where they need to send samples to, and then that enters the funnel at that point once the samples arrive. We have in the members only group a form that any members only, any customer can fill out and give suggestions. And we'll have contests. I think we had a contest last month where we were giving like $500 worth of free gear that we just wanted to give away to whoever submitted the most quantity, but it had to be quality submissions of product ideas. So that's another funnel. We have an internal team. So all employees have a form where if they come across a good idea, they can fill out the form, and then we reach out and ask for samples. And then we have a team that's job is sourcing. So we get all of these funnels. We get product samples. Samples go to 4 different places. At that point, we have a call. So we have an internal team of 9 individuals, varying ages, demographics, to make sure we're touching the entire base of what a typical BattlBox customer is. And we go through an item, and we talk to the benefits of it, and then we vote. So 9 people. If more than one person says no, it's out.
Interesting. And because I see in the BattlBox you've got a defined number of products, looks like 16 or 20 or so, but I imagine you just continue finding new products all the time for people that stay on.
Yeah, but it's tough. So it's never a set amount of items with certainty. There's a range of what we try to do, but we've done where total in the biggest tier there were only 6 items because they were high priced items, high quality items for each. It's not easy. And so this month we're sending out a in the, I believe it's the pro tier, so that the second from the top, we're sending out a Zippo Axe as the item. We actually sent that out previously, and it's one of the, we don't do that very often, but we sent it out 5 years ago. So the argument is, we still have a couple hundred customers that got it, that they now have 2, but it's been 5 years. It's about the shelf life. If you're using an axe, you probably need a new one.
Yeah.
Like if you're actually using it, and if you've been around that long, you're using the gear. So at that point, like that was one of the ones we had to talk through and make sure that made sense to do. But we came to the conclusion it's something we can repeat every 5 years.
Right now, you're probably looking at conversions in Facebook or Google Ads thinking, why doesn't the data line up with my actual sales? Why doesn't more spending bring more customers? What ads are even working? With Northbeam's first-party data and cutting-edge AI, you'll know what ads generated every dollar of revenue across all your channels, all in one platform. Frankly, the best marketers on earth use Northbeam. It's one of our favorite tools and the industry leader in marketing attribution. Visit northbeam.io to see why, and mention this podcast for a special deal only for D2C listeners.
I wanted to chat about growth now versus how it was in those heydays of 2015, 2016. What does your growth look like, and what does your growth strategy look like? I imagine it's a bit more diversified than hitting the scale button on Facebook.
Yeah, so our when we got back on after we got lucky and had a Facebook customer that helped us, at that point we said, okay, having all these eggs in one basket is not smart. So we instantly came up with a diversification idea. Oh, you can advertise on Google too. Probably should have known that. So we started testing other platforms, seeing what works. Traditionally, we don't want any single lead source to be above a sixth of our business, 16.6 repeating percent. And that's not to say, like right now, Facebook, we have some campaigns going that are performing really, really well. So it's a little bit lopsided. We just don't want it to be in for any serious long period of time. When that starts to occur, we have to find lead sources or figure out the ones we have and make them perform better. So that's a big thing. A lot's changed too in the sense that we're every year for the last couple of years we've doubled down on content as being a big piece of the business. But back to the growth trajectory. So we were going really, really well. We started to stall out in 2018 and 2019. We just were struggling to grow. We couldn't get as many customers as we were just naturally attriting each month. So we were really just kind of, not drowning, but not
treading water.
Yeah, just treading water. And then 2020 came, which, spoiler alert, survival gear delivered directly to your door in a pandemic is a recipe for success. And so was all of e-commerce in general, right? So we saw this, giant uplift, start in the beginning of 2020 in March, and it continued. And, at the same point, we were so focused on content. We had our big first home run with content. And that was a Netflix TV show. So it's a Netflix original series called Southern Survival. It's global. Any country can search for BattlBox or Southern Survival and it comes up. And that aired in July 4th weekend, 2020. And that was, we thought we were seeing growth with the pandemic. This was just unfathomable growth. As an example, leading up to it, we had elevated traffic on our site because of the pandemic. We were getting about 125 to 150,000 unique visitors in a month. In July, when that show premiered, we had 1.2 million unique visitors, which was, truth be told, they did not perform and behave like a regular customer that we were targeting precisely with ads. They, bought a lot of one-time products. They didn't convert at the same percentage, about half of the usual conversion rate. But you do some quick math, it still was a major uplift.
And just for them to have to go to a different device and type something in, right? It's not a direct action like on any other ads. You think of that many people took the action. So how many people just became more aware of your brand? And, it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So that was a super game changer. And it's funny.
How did it come about? How did that manifest?
So we had, so when we started off, so Brandon Curran, if anybody listening to this has seen a BattlBox video, he is the bearded guy that is the face of BattlBox. He's in 5% of our content. So the story of Brandon's pretty cool. So Brandon was a paying customer. He was paying at the time $149.99 a month for the top tier, and we had we're talking about 2015. So. And we didn't know, not knowing any better, we had a pre-purchase survey. Don't buy yet. Don't make the purchase. First, tell us how you came to find us. Great for conversion rate, I'm sure. So we had this there, and it was the usual suspects: Facebook, Instagram, Google, etc. But we did have the little other button you could hit and type something in, and we started to get like 15-20% of all of our surveyors were saying other and typing in Curran 1776. So we go to our spreadsheet of people were sending comp boxes to, and he's not on there. We do a quick YouTube search, and we come across this guy, and we're like, where's he getting this box from? Do a little bit of recon, find out his name is Brandon Curran. We look him up in our customer database, and he's a paying customer. So we're like, okay, well, we need to keep watching this, and the next month it's the same thing, but it's like a higher percentage. It's like 25% are saying this. So we're like, okay, we're going to reach out to him. Hey, Brandon, dude, we love what you're doing. We're going to comp your box from here on out. Box is free. Don't worry about it. But in turn, please keep doing these reviews. And of course, he has passion. He loves this product. That's why he was buying it. $150 is a lot of money. And continues to do it. A few months go by, and like it's continuing. We're continuing to grow, and he's continuing to pull his lion's share. And we reach out to him, and we're like, hey, man, we want to give you $500 a month, but like you have to keep doing these videos every month. Like we can't miss, but we'll give you $500 and a free box. He's like, yeah. So Brandon at the time is a career professional HVAC guy. He's been doing it for 20-something years. That's his career. And he had been on some hunting shows before. But his passion, his hobby was doing these reviews and doing other content in this YouTube channel he was trying to grow. It was a side hustle. And after the $500 conversation, that went on for a few months. The next conversation was, this is kind of crazy, but do you want to, talk to your wife and your 3 kids and move from North Carolina down to Georgia and go full-time BattlBox? And we went back and forth, and he got to do what he loves every day, which is pretty cool. And how he started just as a paying customer is phenomenal too. So he came full time. As soon as he came full time, content. And that was the reason. So they reached out to us and said, we're watching your videos. And this is shortly after he was full time, and we were just pushing out as much content as possible. And they said, we have some money from History Channel to shoot a sizzle reel, which is the thing that comes before a pilot, where you try to get the money then for the pilot to then get money for a season. And this is the idea, this is the concept. They came down for 4 or 5 days, shot it. History Channel then sat on it for about 6 months, came back and told us, nah, I'm just not a fit. We don't want to do it. So we were super, super sad and demoralized that, okay, maybe this isn't going to happen. And High Noon Entertainment, they're the studio that produced it for us. They were like, well, we have a meeting with Discovery next week. Ooh, sounds like this could be a show on Discovery. Discovery sits on it for 6 or 7 months, and finally come back and they say no. Okay, guess this is just not happening. And in early 2019, in January 2019, we had just in the previous month heard the no about Discovery. They're like, we have a meeting. We have 2 meetings set for January. One is with Walmart's streaming service, which I don't even know what it's called, and I don't think anybody does. I don't remember, but it doesn't sound like it was a hit. And Netflix. And we're excited about both. They have the meeting with Netflix, and they basically come back and they're like, Netflix wants to do it. Up until then, they were shopping this sizzle reel to get money to shoot a pilot. Netflix doesn't play that game. Netflix is like, yeah, we'll do a season, and we want the right of first refusal on the next 7. So
that's how they made us. First of all, I didn't know Walmart had a streaming service.
Yeah, it's called Vudu. Vudu, I think.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know if it still exists.
It just the way Netflix came into the industry like a bull in a china shop, right? And that's a good example of how they do it. They sort of skip on the formalities a little bit. And what was it like? What do you working with Walmart? What is it like working with a behemoth like Walmart? Were you able to get good data on how many streams you were getting?
So with Netflix.
With Netflix, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so Netflix, working with them is not enjoyable. So they viewed us as talent, and they didn't care that we were a business. They didn't care that we needed to forecast how much product do we need? Like, what is this going to be shown to? Like, not fun to work with. In fact, so I wasn't on the TV show. 4 of us were. They would send an email, Netflix would, to those 4, and Daniel was one of them, and say, hey, we're gonna have a call Friday at 12 o'clock. Daniel would reply back and like loop me in, Richard, our CFO, in, Patrick, our COO, and be like, hey, I'm copying in leadership so that they can attend too. And Netflix would reply back and remove us and say, no, it's not how this works. Like, Daniel would have to like have us like secretly like on like speakerphone listening to the phone calls, because they wouldn't talk to us. And they viewed us just as talent. It's just they don't care that we're a business.
And how does it work with obviously when it launches, you get the lion's share, but I imagine you're still getting trailing attention and trailing traffic from it.
Yeah, so it's still there, right? It's a Netflix original, so it's theirs. So it's not going anywhere, knock on wood, but it's still, it's funny. The rule of no, lead source being greater than 16%, or a sixth, it is still every month about, I'd say on a good month, 16, on a bad month, 12, between 12 and 16% of our new customers still, come from that.
Did they take the second group of 7 episodes?
7 seasons.
7
no.
seasons. Oh, 7 seasons. Oh, geez.
Yeah, like they wanted to, if it was going to be a success, they were going to have it for its entire lifespan. No. So they never officially told us no. So Netflix cares about this metric called completion rate, which they view as, it's defined as a user, and this is a metric for their content. Completion is watching 90% or greater of a first season or a season of a Netflix series. We have 8 episodes, so that would mean you would have to, obviously go somewhat into the 8th episode, which you're not gonna watch the first 7, start the 8th, and not finish it, right? So it's basically watching the entire thing. So what they view as success is greater than 25% completion. So if 10 million people watch our show, 2.5 million need to watch the entire thing. If you're above 25%, green light, second season, rinse, repeat, keep doing it, right? If you're below 20%, it's not a fit. They missed the mark somehow, right? They shouldn't have produced the content. If you're between 20 and 25, you're kind of like in a Netflix purgatory, if you will. They haven't told us no. They haven't told us yes. They're just like keeping us around, maybe, over there, not even acknowledging us. But if they need some outdoor content, they're going to look at the people that are in that purgatory that check that box, and it's a lot easier to grab from there than source new. So we're in that weird status where I don't think we'll have. I think there's a strong possibility we'll have another series. I don't think it'll be with Netflix.
Interesting. Okay, so if I were to give you $50,000 to be used in your marketing for the growth of BattlBox, and you have to use it in Q1 of 2023, how would you deploy those funds?
Building the community. So very non-traditional, right? I would do some sort of community activity, probably giving some of it away in prizes, maybe taking people to a location, a select amount of customers. But all of this would be great for the community. It would also make great content.
Yeah, an outdoor festival, like a big camp. You just go rent out like a huge, like Yosemite or something.
Yeah, with some cool activities and some cool ways to, connect and bond and build camaraderie with each other.
and half of it on the event, half of it on the content about the event that you can put throughout all your channels.
Yeah.
What channel are you most excited about in 2023?
So it's interesting. So in 2022, we started off really bull on TikTok, and we still are. TikTok is, it's I think our largest channel at this point with like subscriber follower kind of thing. We have 800 and something thousand on there. What we realized in probably the middle part, not even the middle part, early of last year, when Meta and Alphabet, Google and Facebook and Instagram all realized that, hey, TikTok's kind of eating our lunch a little bit. So they all put, they all made changes to their algorithm where this short vertical content is treated way better than it necessarily maybe would have been regularly. And we saw it, and we still see it most with YouTube. YouTube Shorts, YouTube treats that shorts content. It's a shot of steroids in the algorithm, and it gets way more eyeballs than traditional long form does, right? I could post a horrible short form video and it could easily get a few hundred or even 1,000 views, while I could do an actual decent long form, and if I don't have a reach already and a subscriber base, it might not get any views. So YouTube Shorts, honestly, I think they're building on it. I think they're getting better. I still think TikTok's algorithm from a consumer experience is still, there's no competition. It is the best algorithm that there is right now.
I agree. Like I used to say this before, and it's still true that like any other live video algorithm skirts along the surface, but TikTok goes to like all the things I'm interested in, for better, for worse.
And so
there's
fast.
a lot weirder stuff.
Yeah.
And so fast. Exactly.
Like it knows so quickly of what to, like we could both open up our TikToks and compare them, and they would be night and day different. And not that we're different, but just it knows exactly what I want to see and exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. Whereas Reels and Shorts, it's still, it's a lot more general still. Like I think there'd be a lot more overlap in our feeds there.
Right. Yeah, we would have overlap for sure.
Super, super interesting. Are you noticing a relation between, this is something we've invested a lot in Shorts, and we're getting thousands of views on them versus hundreds on the YouTube podcast. But we haven't really been able to correlate Shorts into longer form video views yet. It's Shorts are going up, but it doesn't necessarily mean that longer form video views are going up. It's kind of its own thing.
It's its own thing. There's not much of a correlation. We'll try. So we'll do some testing where we'll put in the Shorts, a small little graphic. Make sure to subscribe. With a little animated piece, and we'll do that, which does convert us more subscribers, because a lot of people just like it's crazy, like 97% of our people watching, and even higher sometimes, aren't subscribers. So we're trying to get it in the sense that we're trying to get them to subscribe so that they'll get the notifications of our longer form content.
Yeah. Makes sense. Nice. John, thanks for coming on the D2C podcast today. I think we better stay in touch. I want to see how you guys continue to grow with BattlBox. We might be overlapping in Las Vegas in March, so it'd be fun to see you. And I'm going to earn an invite to that Christmas party one of these years.
Dude, you're already invited. Come on.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that right now at direct-to-consumer, all one word, .co. I'm Eric Dyck, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.